It takes tremendous grit and fortitude to move a business from idea to enterprise. And even here within the Barbadian economy, a number of businesses don't fail because of a lack of profit or management. It's actually because of a lack of systems. In this special episode, we have a conversation with founder of Digital IRC and president of the Junior Chamber International, Mrs. Rochelle Walrond. This is One on One. I'm Mishron Robinson. Good evening. Welcome to the set of this special one-on-one. On our set this evening, we have a special guest, Mrs. Rochelle Walrond. She's the founder of Digital IRC Consultancy. She's also the sitting president of the Junior Chamber International and founder of the application Invoicey. Rochelle, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. You're passionate about building systems for entrepreneurs, and this came out of having to deal with personal matters in terms of a close family member being diagnosed with cancer and the push for excellence. Who is Rochelle Walrond, and why do you think you have this obsession with building systems for entrepreneurs?
I generally have an obsession for building systems because I like operations. I like to see something from beginning to the end, seeing all the mechanics of how it works.
Yeah.
And as you said, I had to start this business out of a need, and it had to survive and work because of that need, and it worked because we put systems in place, or you had to put systems in place. I feel like running a business or running a company is a bunch of systems that come in together, whether it's marketing, financing, HR, whether it's dealing with inventory. And when you put all the effort into it and it works and it runs, you can live the life that you want to live ultimately.
Do you think a lot of entrepreneurs are broke? They may be considered successful entrepreneurs, but do you think that they're broke because they don't have, or because there's this breakdown in systems?
I think it's a combination of systems and lack of understanding finance. A lot of entrepreneurs will say, I don't like numbers. I don't like dealing with numbers. And they tend to avoid it. So it's a combination of understanding you can't be the chief cook and bottle washer all the time.
Right.
And in order for your business to grow, there are systems that we have to put in place. There are mechanisms to deal with your finances, whether it's invoicing some person, to deal with your marketing, to deal with just the workflow of your communication, how you attract persons. And then it's also understanding like numbers. Accounting is a fancy term, but it's ultimately the adding and subtraction of numbers. And when you look at it at the group level, your business can't survive if you don't know the revenue that's coming in and expenses that are going out. So for me, businesses shy away from those two aspects, and therefore they tend to be broke because yes, you're doing it for passion or for purpose, but we ultimately here to make money. We ultimately here, you could only survive, you could only do things if you're making money.
And the root cause of any business is for profits at the end of the day.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if a person says, don't worry about paying me back at the end, I'm just here as a social enterprise, or I'm just here as a charity. You're saying that systems are needed in order to generate that profit.
Yes, because even if we take a charity for a case, a charity is there to provide a service, whether it's the development of the youth, whether it's to give back to homeless. It's like you need funding in order for these things to operate. You need cash. Similar concept for profit business. For a profit business, you need cash in order to decide to bring back in more inventory to sell, in order to offer your service at a better level, whether you want to invest in equipment or you want to invest in your own development. That can only be done with additional funding or additional money. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. You need money in order to survive.
How do you feel about that whole concept of bootstrapping a company, taking your own funding and getting your company rolling? Or do you feel as if in the Barbadian context, small entrepreneurs or small business persons starting out should look at investment?
Being honest, at the beginning, for most persons, the bootstrapping is the only available opportunity. Outside of now, we have those avenues that we could go to the trust loan, we could go to different organizations to get that financing. But if we're being honest, you start with what you have, the passion that you have, the purpose that you have, and you add on a little bit. And most of us start when we're in another job. So we use that funding as the initial seed money to do what we want to do. But I think there's nothing wrong with over time getting that investment and or getting that loan or getting that credit, that line of credit for your business. But even to get it, you still need to have structures in place. You still need to have systems in place.
You know, sometimes we hear small entrepreneurs say, "I can't trust this person with my business idea." That whole lack of trust. What do you think about that and how it keeps a person from growing business wise?
I I don't think that you should hold everything to yourself. We need people and we need community. I know sometimes you hear the concept where persons say, I don't want to talk too early. I don't want persons to pull down an idea or push down an idea. But you know who you can't have those conversations with deep down. But sometimes you really need some person to allow
You
you
need second opinions.
to give
Yeah.
you a different perspective. Maybe you're missing a gap. Maybe you forgot something, or sometimes you just need that person that cheering you on and rooting you on and letting you know that you have this. Like operating alone and entrepreneurship sometimes can be very isolating in itself. Sometimes you feel like only you see what you want or only you can understand your vision. But when you can really talk to some person and say truthfully, this is where it's going towards, it makes a difference. So I don't subscribe to hold all to your cards to your chest. That's not something that I subscribe to.
Speaking of holding things to the chest, you've held on to your full time job as long as possible
Nearly 10 years.
for almost a decade. What was it that took place in your mind when you knew, okay, Rochelle, it's time to take that jump, that leap of faith into full time entrepreneurship in managing invoicing, the application, and also digital IRC consultancy?
So to just give you or paint the picture at that time we were going through COVID. And you know, a lot of businesses, first they were going through furlough. Furlough, you should have shortened hours, you have shortened time span. It was okay, we were surviving. But then there was the family medical situation where someone very close to me was diagnosed with cancer. And I had to sit and think, okay, we're all being furloughed there, and they were in the hospitality industry, so you knew back then how it was. We need cash. It was a decision at that time for survival. Okay, we need cash, we need to get things done. And it had expertise, it had skills, so I started the business back then. And you were continuing doing the business going along, but then it reached a point wherein I really wanted to try to step out to do this on my own. I actually made a decision a year before, because you knew the bud signs. You need to have that emergency fund. You need to make sure you build systems in place. Make sure you have persons to support you. You have a team before you decide that you're jumping full time. We're actually coming up to that anniversary mark when I wrote the letter to say, okay, I'm going to do this full time. I can't say I regret it. If I'm being honest, the first few months there is an adjustment. Moving from a salary hitting a complete every single time like clockwork to I have to put in the work. I have to make sure the things are working. Or no salary is coming, no income is coming. I still have to pay employees. It is a daunting task. But I must say it is a rewarding task. The person say about the freedom, there is a level of freedom and a level of comfort, but there is pressure. There's a lot of pressure, but I can't say that I regret the decision.
There are a number of persons within the civil service, from teachers to doctors to lawyers, persons involved in full time employment who have their businesses as their side hustles. But you've chosen to do this full time, to take on the grit and the rigor of entrepreneurship. What's your advice to anybody out there who's working full time in the civil service or even within the private sector, who's doing this thing as a side hustle and is unsure about, what systems they should put in place to go into this thing full time?
What I would say is sit and look at your business. You must be willing to put up with a lot in terms of running your business. It has to be something that you're truly passionate about. Once you've determined, yes, I could do this every day, this is something I'm willing to do every day, look at your overall customer service. Am I attracting enough people to maintain the standard of living they have now? Let's be real. We have mortgages, we have rent, we have persons that depend on us. does your business have the capacity to maintain that? If the answer is yes, look at, okay, if I was supposed to do this, do I need other persons around me? We don't know everything. There are other persons that I need to pull in. So once you look at the human resources, you look at the finances, you look at the overall operations, you could then take a minute and say, okay, yes, this is something I can produce. I can decide I am going to go into full time. And I'm also not some person that subscribes that entrepreneurship is for everybody. I think that multiple streams of income is important, because just living and just
The
surviving,
economy is.
we just need the money.
Yeah.
But I don't think entrepreneurship in its sense is for everyone. You have to know, is this something that I want to do?
So there are some people that just prefer to be a part of the system.
Yes.
Not everybody has the leadership capacity to do entrepreneurship like that. But I feel as if a person is working full time and they have a side hustle, they aren't going to see the level of growth that is needed unless they commit to this baby full time. Having a business is literally like giving birth
Yes.
to a child, and it needs nurturing and breastfeeding and all that to see it to the next
level.
step.
I agree. Because when you decide that you're stepping into it full time, you have no choice to get to, as you say, having a baby, feed this baby every few hours, change the pamper as it grow. And similarly, as your business grow, you change your baby's clothes as it grow. It first is wearing a 6 month and 9 months. Like talking like I have children, currently don't have any yet. But then you go into toddler stage and a 2T and a 4T. Same way how you changing the outfits, your business systems grow along with it. Maybe before you were using a Google Sheets to do one thing, now you find an automated system, and now we using AI into the way you prepare proposals and stuff. So the similar process with regards to the growth of a business.
What are some of those systems digital ARC is seeking to put in place for anybody looking to give birth to a baby? What are some of those services that you do offer to Barbados generally?
The first thing that we offer is your digital presence, your website presence. Now in this day and age, if some person wants to know about you, the first thing they're going to do is Google you or search you up. So you're going to ask yourself, what are they going to find? And you want to have some sort of control of what they're finding. So whether it is just a blog or just information about you, or if you is a product or service you offer, you want to make it easier for them to pay you. We want to make money. So we offer those like e-commerce platforms, integrations, and then for some even organizations maybe looking internally, we help build out full-fledged applications for workflows, collecting information, where the documents are supposed to go, what the system actually looks like. So we digitize, which is the digital part of ARC, all the different aspects of a business.
So in speaking of building systems, you're building systems in terms of HR, website development, app creation, and so forth. But you're also the sitting president of the Junior Chamber International as well.
Yes.
Tell us about that organization.
So Junior Chamber International is a leadership development organization, and it's geared towards individuals between the ages of 18 and 40. And when we say leadership development, how that is done is through the execution of projects. So we allow persons to come and they can say a project that they're passionate about, and we execute it. One of the projects that we work on a lot is called Mathematics. Again, linked to numbers, where we help young persons prepare for the common entrance exam. And we work on various projects, whether it's cleaning up the beach and stuff. So we develop our young persons. We develop our young persons through the execution of various projects.
What's the vision and mandate for JCA right now?
The vision is always is in our name, the development of persons, and it's about the human society, the impact of that we have on human society.
Why was it important for you to sit as president to take over the mandate of JCA to, grab the bull by its horns? And
I felt like it was time. When I joined the organization, I felt like I had the opportunity to give back through the project execution. And I felt like it was time for me to develop the other persons that are joining the organization. I like to see persons succeeding. And in JCI, you have no choice but to stand up and talk. You have no choice but to execute, and encouraging persons to do that it is rewarding for me. So it may be a bit of a selfish thing, but I feel like from my selfishness, the society on the whole is gaining from it.
From your selfishness, Barbados is
Yes.
benefiting.
Yes.
When we come back, we want to touch on some of the government policies that have been put in place to support entrepreneurs as well, and also how you're going from the chaos that some entrepreneurs may be faced with, to putting systems in place for small businesses across the island.
No.
When we come back, we'll be continuing this special one-on-one with President of the Junior Chambers International and founder of Digital IRC, Mrs. Rochelle Walrond. Please stay with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Danielle Reed-Melillo and I am a general physician. Today we're going to have a casual talk about STDs and STIs. An STD is a sexually transmitted disease and an STI is a sexually transmitted infection. An STI is an infection which is caused by having sexual contact with an infected person. When symptoms develop, it is then termed an STD. All STDs are treatable, but only some are curable. Everyone that has sexual intercourse is at risk. Get your partner or partners tested before every new sexual relationship and use protection.
At the Leadership Institute Barbados, our vision is a nation where every woman has the tools, the confidence, and the platform to lead. Our tagline is Empowering Women, Transforming Our Nation. We are a dedicated space for growth, offering holistic development for women at every stage of their journey. From emotional intelligence and personal mastery to social justice advocacy, we provide the comprehensive training you need to navigate the modern world with authority. We are committed to more than just professional success. We foster a powerful sisterhood through mentorship, peer support, and workshops that build resilience and bridge the gender gap in our community and our boardrooms. Most importantly, we are a voice for systemic change. We challenge the status quo, advocate for inclusive policies, and empower women to become transformational leaders who uplift everyone around them. You can join our movement. We welcome professional mentors, volunteers, and partners. If you wish to support our mission, please contact us to discuss. Learn more and join the sisterhood on our social media. Find us at Leadership Institute Barbados on all platforms. You can reach us directly via email at info@leadershipinstitutebarbados.org.
Welcome back to the set of one-on-one. As we mentioned, we're having a conversation with founder of Digital IRC and president of the Junior Chambers International, Mrs. Rochelle Walrond. Rochelle, we promised our viewers when we come back, we're going to have a conversation about some of those policies that you've seen put in place or that you're hoping to see for entrepreneurs in Barbados by the monthly administration.
So when we think about all of the policies that I put in place, one of the things that come to mind, or the major thing that come to mind, was the trust loan, where entrepreneurs had the opportunity to go and get finances in order to develop their business, and then they could go back and get a second loan to develop business. I thought it was an excellent idea. The thing that I would add, although the entrepreneurs were getting the money, they were also getting training along with it.
The building of capacity, as you mentioned.
Yes. So to me, that is a great initiative that was implemented.
Do you feel as if there should be greater bridges between private sector, small businesses, and government initiatives, building those connects? So there's greater capacity, greater growth for local small businesses.
I do think so. Sometimes you would hear entrepreneurs ask for the opportunity. Sometimes they feel like larger organizations get more opportunities out there. So I think that there is more space, there's more room, there's more opportunity out there to give them the opportunity to execute. And sometimes I would say, even if we as entrepreneurs, we work together and form those groups,
Those alliances
and
and
go
partnerships.
forward and ask for what we want, I think we would be even help ourselves better, not just putting the entire role and the entire act on the government. It's like, if I take a look at myself, am I doing enough to say, okay, this is what I need? Am I going after what I need?
So greater alliances, especially for young people like yourself, people under the age of 40, 45, 35, to have representative bodies. Yes, there is a Chamber of Commerce. Yes, there are these other representative bodies. But you're saying it would be good to have greater alliances being formed.
Yes.
You've also used the opportunity, knowing what you know in terms of wealth creation and investment. You have a master's in
Wealth and investment management.
wealth and investment management. So you've also used the opportunity to pass on that knowledge.
Yes.
And to share with other persons within the space, being a former lecturer with the Small Business Association
Yes.
as well.
So with being a lecturer at the Small Business Association, I had the opportunity to teach basic accounting for business. You see, financial management. To me, that is the bedrock of any organization, any business, the finances of the business. And when entrepreneurs are willing to learn the numbers, you have to know your numbers. You have to be willing to say your numbers, because a lot of persons are frightened to say their numbers and really reflect and see, this is the baseline that I am at. If you don't understand your baseline, you can't make a decision about it. You can't decide, I want to make it better, or maybe I'm doing okay. But you need to know your numbers, and I really like the opportunity to give back from that point of view, share the knowledge and break it down to a level that persons feel comfortable. Okay, I can do this, I can grasp this.
When we're talking numbers in terms of entrepreneurship, you say it's important for small business persons to say the numbers. So you're not just dreaming this thing, you're not speaking airy-fairy. You
No.
need to know exactly
Exactly.
what is what, which products to keep selling and which products to drop, which services to continue selling and which services continue to.
Yes, and that was one of the reasons I had actually developed the application in Voicey. It was telling persons, if you don't know your numbers, sometimes you operate in feelings. Especially you will see persons that sell products and they're like, oh, I like the smell of the cherry one. This is the one I'm going to keep creating. But when you actually look at your numbers, your coconut one is what is actually selling. But you would only know that if you keep accurate records. If you're recording, this is the amount of sales that I make, and stop making decisions based on if this feels good, and more based on data and facts, and then also with regards to pricing, determine what your pricing structure should be. You need to understand the expenses that are into operating your business, not just most of us have the direct expenses under control, but it's the overhead costs, all of the costs for the administration, all of the costs for the bookkeeping. You need to see holistically what it takes to run your business, so you can determine a pricing structure that ensures that your business is profitable.
If more small businesses got it right in terms of their numbers, how would that benefit the larger economy? How would that benefit the government? We oftentimes hear the government saying it's a whole of society approach.
It is.
The private sector needs to play its part. So obviously there's tremendous benefit in having these small and micro-sized, medium-sized entities. But how would small businesses getting their systems right through some of the work you're doing help the larger economy on a whole?
What I would say, it will first break the stigma. You know, there's this stigma that says smaller businesses only survive after not past 5 years. First, the goal is to try to break that stigma or increase that statistic that's out there. And then when money is flowing in the economy, everybody prospers. And a small business, eventually, you don't stay a one person business forever. Eventually start to bring on other persons. You help your household, you start to help your community. There's an opportunity to give back to the overall society. With the more small businesses being successful at managing their finances and managing their money, it ultimately has a positive impact on the community and economy.
Taking that into consideration, Rochelle, why does the manual operation of a business feel like a trap that you just can't escape?
I think there is
and how do we escape that trap?
I think first there is a fear of it. I feel like most of the times when I speak to entrepreneurs, they say, I don't like numbers. I don't like to deal with numbers.
But you have to get into loving numbers.
You know that you have to love it. You have to acknowledge, I need to understand it. You don't need to be an accountant, but you need to understand this is where my money comes in, and this is how it comes in, and this is where my money goes on. Inflows and outflows. You don't need to know all of the terms, all of the different systems, but understanding the basic profit and loss statement. Understanding your balance sheet, which is the current state of your business. How much money do you own, and what are the things that you own, and how much money do you owe? What are your liabilities that are out there, and ultimately how much you have invested into your business. If a business owner accepts, you know what, I may not love it, but in order for me to get to the level that I want to be, I just need to understand the basics. We'll be able to stop feeling so broke and start feeling like we can't do it. And just the same way you will spend hours being creative and doing stuff, just 2 hours a week. 2 hours a week minimum, and you should be in a good situation.
What are the dangers of a business that lives only in the owner's head? Yes, it's existing. Yes, they have clients, but they don't understand the numbers like that. But there's the opportunity for growth for this particular enterprise, but
everything
is up top.
But if everything is up top, first thing, no one can help you. Your business, literally every decision has to come to you in order to be made. That alone can be overwhelming. That alone could be overwhelming. That alone could stop you in your tracks. If you get sick, if you have to take a break, if you want to go on vacation, nothing else can be done. So now let's see how we could take it from just being in our heads, and how even writing it down, making it plain for some person else, and then looking at where do I want to go. And then if you look at the longer range, what is going to happen to me 50 years from now, 60 years from now? What's your exit plan? Where am I going to retire? Am I going to sell the business? How am I going to survive after this point of view? After this point is very important. So it can't remain in your head. You have to let it out. You have to share it. The knowledge has to transfer over.
You feel as if more small businesses could survive if only they had systems in place?
Yes.
So sometimes it's not that. Well, oftentimes it could be mismanagement. But you're saying even intergenerational businesses within the Black community or our community, they can possibly survive if only proper systems are put in place.
Which goes back to the point I was making with regards to the exit plan. Because there's no system in place, there's no way to say, this is how the operations of this business is supposed to happen. This is how we're supposed to track finances. These are the customers that we've had for years, and this is where you can find the information. None of this is documented, none of this is shared. And when it reaches a stage and point, it's like the business dies. There's no generation coming after it. And not even, it may not be that you stay in the business or the child or son stays in the business, but there's some person to take it on afterwards. There's something to sell off. There's something to carry on the name, because there's nothing there. There's nothing to carry on. And it dies with that individual when they, unfortunately, if they pass away or they become unable to execute it anymore.
I've heard some small business persons saying that business is about war, is about putting in extra effort, is about going above and beyond, especially like Leila and Alex Hormozy, the Hormozys. I'm sure a lot of people know about the Hormozys with acquisition.com. But does it have to be like that? Because for other persons, it's about harmony, it's about diplomacy, it's about taking a break when needed. It's not necessarily about burning the candle at both ends. What do you say to that?
I think that there is a time and season for everything. There's a time when you have to go full in, full war, full. You know you are building something, and it's going to come with the late nights. It's going to come with putting in the effort. To me, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You have to put in the effort. But then there is a time when you could pull back, when you could take a minute, when you could breathe, when you could say, reflect on how far you've come, and then also ensure that you're bringing someone along with you. Sometimes persons say you have to reach back and bring forward. I think you can also reach to the side. We all can move up together. it does not always have to be we are fully at war at all points in times. It is an up and down season. And even using the individuals that you reference, they have a whole community of persons around it. They have systems that run like clockwork. As much as you see them there, there's some person recording, there's some person editing, there's some person posting. They're not doing it alone. So yes, for them, they're communicating a certain message, but you also got to remember there's a system behind it. There is a whole organization behind them. So think about the organization that you're putting behind yourself and what you're willing to invest in yourself to go to the next level.
Which brings us to another point.
Yes.
The importance of benevolence and kindness in business.
Yes.
Selfishness and business does not go together. Would you agree?
I agree. Many of the opportunities that I've received, persons have, I don't want to say given it to me because obviously I had to show my merit for it. But I think, and it goes back to the whole team of International Women's Day.
Gift to gain.
Gift to gain.
Yeah.
That team
Yes.
speaks to me. There is so many persons that have given me, and even
People
they
who put you on in rooms that you may not have been present.
just calling my name. And I feel like we have an obligation to do that too. And it comes from kindness, just being kind and being willing to encourage somebody else. And yes.
For any business that might be in total chaos, we've spoken about giving to gain.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a client who's coming to you with a system that is broken down completely,
Mm-hmm.
how do you seek to get it back on track? How can you save that dying business?
When a client comes to me and is in chaos, most of the times they also feel overwhelmed and they feel like things are. We just take a minute and reflect. Like, why did you start? Like, we just come all the way back. What was the purpose for starting? Once we set the baseline, I tell persons, if you try to do every single thing at one time, nothing gets done. Everything cannot be important. We choose, okay, what aspect of the business can we start with? I think there's like a quick win mentality. You get a quick win here, whether it's just be like, maybe I just need to add a form so persons can contact me, a booking link so that persons can book a meeting. Quick wins. We have those quick wins, and then as we move on, you start to feel motivated and you start saying, okay, I have accomplished this so far. I've done so much. What ultimate operations I need to fix? Maybe I need to renegotiate with my suppliers. My expense bill may seem too high. Maybe I need to do it if I have too many applications, because sometimes there's the extreme of too many systems where then no system is working together. So we look at the baseline, see what everything is at, remember where we started, and we bite off one chunk at a time. And then by the end of and it's not going to happen over a day or a night. It takes time. Understand it takes time, and to give yourself grace. Things are going to go wrong in between, but it's acknowledging, okay, this is where I wanted to go. This is what I wanted to do. This is where it went off a little bit. Let me come back. We're still working towards this target and give ourselves grace.
And it is work similar to this that you've put in over the years that have contributed to you being an award-winning digital
Yes.
consultant as well. Tell us about that award.
The award was offered by the Small Business Association, and it was under the Minister Sandra Husbands. And receiving the award, like hearing your name called for an award for something that you've worked so hard on to
from scratch.
build, there's no feeling that could even explain how you feel in that moment. But then afterwards, there's a pressure to maintain the standard.
Yes.
But honestly, like working towards it and receiving the award was very fulfilling. Very fulfilling.
Congrats to you on that award.
Thank you.
For all of the work that you've done from scratch, even during a pandemic.
Yes.
And bouncing back with a relative that was unwell at the time, carrying all of this in your back.
Yeah.
Quite the hero. Rochelle, when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of building systems and continuing your work with digital IRC.
No problem.
We'll be right back with more one-on-one. Please stay with us.
Hi, my name is Barbara Daniel Goddard. I'm the Chair and Councillor of Advocates Against Domestic Abuse, and we are known as ADA. ADA is a registered charity, number 1397. ADA provides support to women and men who are victims or survivors of domestic abuse and violence. Annually, ADA gets involved with a number of events: 16 Days of Activism, International Women's Day, and Domestic Awareness Month. ADA is always looking for volunteers, and some of the skills that we would like would be persons with fundraising knowledge, marketing, and legal. Visit our website, ada.bb, and you can find all of our social media handles. You can contact us via our helpline if you are a victim or a survivor of domestic violence or abuse.
Every child's future begins at home, and every parent at some point needs support. For over 50 years, Paradise has been helping families in Barbados build stronger, healthier relationships, one parent, one child, one conversation at a time. Through parenting workshops, early childhood programs, and community outreach, Paradise equips parents and caregivers with practical tools, guidance, and encouragement. Our work strengthens families, supports positive child development, and helps create safer, stronger, nurturing homes. When parents grow in confidence, children thrive. When families are supported, communities become stronger. Whether you're raising a toddler, guiding a teen, or caring for a child in your extended family, you are not alone. Reach out, learn, connect, because better, positive parenting builds brighter futures. Paradise, building stronger communities, one family at a time.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Danielle Reed Malilo and I'm a general physician. Today we're going to have a casual talk about herpes simplex virus. Herpes simplex virus is a viral infection that has two subtypes, type 1 and type 2. These are treatable but not curable. Type 1 usually causes lesions around the nose and mouth, and type 2 usually causes lesions below the waist. These lesions can be itchy and painful and can be singular or in clusters. It is spread by skin-to-skin contact with active lesions which may be out of the scope of a condom. Herpes simplex virus is easily treated and should not be stigmatized. So use protection and get tested today.
Welcome back to this episode of One on One. Rochelle, we promised our viewers to look at the future of business and sustainability as well. What do you think sustainability looks like in this modern Barbadian economy where small businesses are concerned? What does it mean to be sustainable successfully?
If I break it down to its lowest term, to me, is having money. And yes, we talk about sustainability in terms of the impact that you have on the environment, the impact on different things. But your business can't do these things if you don't have money to operate. Your business needs to be able to make a profit and all. And I was going to say unfortunately, which was the wrong word, but you need to have cash in your bank account. In order for your business to even go to the next level, it can't do that without cash or without money or without funding.
If you are applying for a mortgage or a car, we need to see some kind of
We
cash
need
flow.
to see. And which takes me back to an important point that I encourage persons to do. It doesn't matter if you make $100, $200, $10,000. Try to funnel that money through a banking institution. Persons will get the cash, spend the cash, but it's never being recorded.
You need to track it.
Need to put it within an institution so it's recorded. So when you want to get the mortgage or you need to get the loan to expand the business, there's some financial record there so that the persons are willing to give you this money.
If a small business, for example, is making, let's say, $6,000 a month, how should they utilize those funds if they're going after purchasing property for the business, preparing those 2 years of financials? What would your advice be as a qualified accountant and wealth investment strategist?
With regards to using the boy pot that you said $6,000 a month, first you need to break out I call it buckets. You need to separate the money into buckets. There's some operating expenses that for your business. What is that percentage of the operating expense? Then there is, and when I say operating expense, I don't even mean paying yourself. Then there's the amount that you need to pay yourself to survive and everything like that. Then there is the amount that you have to put aside because taxes is a thing. As much as business tries to avoid them, taxes is a thing. How much do you need to put aside for your taxes? When we've looked at all of the things in order to operate your business, what is left back? We are hoping that what is left back is around that 10 to 15%. That's the goal, 10 to 15%. Then we want to see what are you going to invest in your business. Is it a case that you need more equipment so we can make more money, so we increase the amount? Is it a case that we want to put it in a more, I want to say, state investment where the money is locked for a particular period of time and just growing? So then you look at for the vehicles that make sense for your business. But every business is different, but it's understanding that baseline. And in order to understand that baseline, again, we're going back to, you have to know your numbers, and then we could go from there.
Another question I was going to ask, let me speak about profitability and bucket filling. You have a program coming up called Pathway to Profit.
Yes.
Tell us about that and what can the Barbadian public expect from Pathway to Profit?
So the whole name Pathway to Profit came about because I felt like there was a lot of communication out there about scaling your business, making revenue for your business. That is completely important. I get it. But it's the other step after that. We've made the money, but then afterwards, a lot of businesses felt like you don't have any money left back. So Pathway to Profit is really designed to set the foundation. What is your pricing? Understanding your costs, understanding your obligations in terms of taxes, in terms of the various compliance. And then also your business is going to grow. So we need to understand the NAS and the TAMIS and everything related to that. And then the risks behind actually running a business. So when we think about all the different aspects in terms, even the systems of running a business, when we think of all the different aspects, Pathway to Profit is to really provide that foundation. And it's going to be more of a workshop, intimate, active working through session for the whole day where you feel like you're walking away with, these are action steps, are systems that I can put into place right now to really make a change in my business.
And even with considerations, we've been talking about the government mentioning that it needs to be a whole of society approach in terms of the running of the economy and benefits for Barbadians generally. So where are workshops similar to Pathway to Profit and other workshops that you've been a part of, including Teen CEO, where are these private sector workshops so important in terms of capacity building as well?
They're very important. And even referencing Teen CEO, Teen CEO was developed for young entrepreneurs. And I feel like once you say train a child in where they should go and they should not depart, if you set the foundation from early, helping them to understand these are the basics in terms of turning up for yourself, how to brand yourself, how to market yourself, how are the business finances going to operate from assets, liabilities, all the basic concepts. You learn them young, you probably are not going to forget them. So TCO is really setting the foundation. But then as you start to grow your business a bit more mature, you want to go to the next level. That's where Pathway to Profit comes into play. You have the foundation now. I want to be that millionaire. I want to have that generational wealth business. What do I need to do in order to take my business to the next level? So all the workshops work together, all of the different systems work together to really build that capacity and look at the society and economy on a whole.
There's been a study, you made mention of building that generational wealth from small and building the knowledge base from as young as, being a teenager and even younger. There's been a study that shows that artificial intelligence is actually going to build the next generation of millionaires faster than the internet did years ago. So what role do you think government can play in putting those systems in place, and also the private sector like yourself, in terms of building that next generation of millionaires and multimillionaires within this economy?
With the use of the internet and the AI, I see them as tools. They are tools to help us execute faster. But along with those
So
tools,
it's not anything to fear.
it's not anything to fear. I feel like we need to utilize them. You shouldn't be afraid of them. They're here. It's the same way the internet was here and we had to get accustomed to it. AI is not going anywhere. And every day it's getting better, it's getting faster. It's saying, how can I utilize this in my operations? How can I use its AI to benefit me now? And it's willing to take the time. And you asked about the interconnection between government and private sector. It's not how do I take the time to develop, whether it's my employees, whether it's the society, whether it's the youth, how do I invest in them so that they know how to utilize it? Because anything similar, a tool could be used for good, it could be used for bad, but we want to make sure that we funnel it through the path that we want it to go. And in this case, it's the development of our businesses, the development of our youth, utilizing how they utilize their money, how they look at their overall finances. And I see nothing wrong with the technology that's coming out.
In another vein, do you think entrepreneurs can manage their businesses, push their businesses, and still take weekends or take breaks, take vacations when needed? How do they find that balance?
Finding a balance is not easy.
But it's important, no?
I don't even know if I like the word balance. I feel like balance is be this facade of, oh, everything is going to be operating at the same time. One of the things, and just going back to when I would have left work and I did it full time, that was a culture shock. And in my head, I was like, I can find the balance. I can be the perfect wife and the perfect daughter while running a business. That's not going to happen. Something honestly is going to suffer because you cannot give 100% to everything at all times. Something is going to get your 100%, and something, unfortunately, is going to get your 0%. And to me, it's just finding. I'm trying to find
a new balance.
A new harmony, a new blend, a new sway, and accepting that that is okay. And it is also making sure that the persons around you or in your circle are close to you know this is the new normal for a bit. And then eventually, as your business grows, we have sisters, we have the money, we could take these 6 month sabbaticals and the breaks and stuff. But at the beginning, I am not sure balance is actually a thing.
Another question I want to ask in this whole conversation of balance, do you feel as if the femininity has to suffer in the name of being a girl boss? How do we balance that in terms of being feminine, being soft? We know the masculine energy is the doing energy, feminine energy being receptive and going with the flow. So how do modern day women find that balance?
I think that is a combination of things. Women are good at what we do because we're women. There's something about the intuition that we have, something about when we walk into a room, there's a presence. Just because I'm not to be vain, you just beautiful. You're just beautiful, and we walk in the room, you grab the attention. But how do you use it? No,
right.
I see nothing wrong with you using your feminine energy. I'm not saying body, but feminine energy.
The essence, yeah.
To have things executed. The way how we handle a situation may not be the same way a man handles a situation.
Right.
And that is okay. You have to know who you are, know how you operate. And there are women that go after things, but they don't necessarily need to be masculine about it. This is what I am passionate about. This is what I'm going after. But I'm still me as a woman when it all boils down to it.
Do you feel as if being a boss, considering what you've said, has to be secondary to being a bookkeeper? How do we balance the bossiness of a business or the CEO mindset, but also keeping records of the books?
I think there is a blend of it. Being who I am, I will probably put bookkeeper, accountant, finance above it because to me, again, that's the foundation of everything. But in order to be a good boss or in order to develop into that good CEO, you need to understand your business. And in order to understand your business, you need to know everything that's coming in and going out. And what's coming in and going out is what you're paying for and what you're investing in, whether it's your employees, your staff, whether it's in new systems. And to me, that's why it says a combination. But keeping an accounting and understanding the numbers is very important in order to be a good boss.
There's that floating quote that says business is a language and those who speak it will, reap the benefits of success. So it's about speaking the language of business, which is numbers and understanding that.
Funny thing, I've never heard that quote before, but I agree with it. I think.
Well, I don't think I have it word for word.
Oh, okay. But I agree with it. Business is the language of numbers. And if we even think about multi-generation billion-dollar businesses, multinational corporations, their sole purpose is to develop or give their shareholders a benefit, give their shareholders that dividend from the profits. So even if we come all the way back down to micro to small, medium-sized enterprises, your sole purpose is to develop that business in order to generate money and have a cash flow going through it.
So then the follow-up question is, for our natural juice hustlers, nut cake hustlers, tamarind ball hustlers, how do we break down that information to have them speak in the language of business?
I feel like they do. I feel like when you talk to a natural drink person or a hustler,
even a fish vendor,
they know what to hustle you for $1. They get it, but no, it's to add on top of it. You good at the sales part of it, which is another operation.
It's just one system.
One system. We good at the sales part of it, but now how do I think about? I want to put my natural juices in the supermarket. Maybe I want to start to export them. That requires another level of money, another level of investment, and a reality that I have to sit and understand my numbers. I have to sit and say, okay, the bottles are going to cost me this. Getting the labels are going to cost me this. I have to invest in understanding what is required to go into the international market or even into the supermarket, because ultimately I want to grow. Ultimately, I want to be able to give back to my families. I want to be able to be that provider, because most persons start that hustle because they're trying to be a provider. So the numbers, again, it goes back to the numbers. It goes back to understanding this is the baseline in order for me to go to the next level.
Rochelle, so considering all that you just mentioned, what do you think is the greatest lie that entrepreneurs tell themselves in relation to their bank balance?
That the cash in their bank account belongs to them.
So you made it, is it not yours?
No, it's not yours.
But it's on my bank account.
It's on your bank account, but the government has to take their piece. There are other suppliers that are going to come. You want to invest in your business. You want to grow your business. It's not your money. And that's one of the things that you also need to acknowledge. There's a separation between business and personal. You need to separate it from the get-go. And it's not your money. It really isn't.
So, considering the greatest lie that entrepreneurs tell themselves regarding their bank balance, you were also making mention of one of the truths that you wish you knew when you first started both entities, Digital ARC Consultancy and the Invoicing application.
I think one of the things that I didn't realize was the amount of effort. Like, you hear it, you know it, but going through it, the amount of effort required to actually run and operate the business. And then two, yes, I was a qualified accountant. Yes, I knew better. Yes, I had all the degrees. But when I started it, I didn't start with where I am now. The systems were in place. And then I remember the first time I actually sat down and did my profit and loss statement and looked at my numbers, I was like, Rochelle, why are you spending this money like it is your money? And it's like sitting with that reality, and it was like, okay, if you want to go to the next level, we need to change. We need to actually operate like this is not business and personal together. This is a business, and that is personal.
The importance of being meek and teachable as well.
Yes.
Knowing, because that's the only way you're going to grow.
You always,
at the end of the day.
I'm always looking to learn and do new things. And I am of the opinion I don't know everything. And I love to be in wrong spaces and with other individuals that are knowledgeable in their field. Especially if some person is knowledgeable their area and they're talking about it. I can hear the passion coming out through their voice. I love it. I love to understand their area. So yeah.
Rochelle, we're wishing you all the best with your JCI presidency and your programs, Pathway to Profit, Teen CEO, Digital ARC Consultancy, and also the Invoicing application.
Thank you so much.
We've come to the end of this very special one-on-one with Mrs. Rochelle Walrond. On behalf of my producer, I'm Miss Sharon Robinson. Until next time.